And then he started laughing. And then I was like, oh, fuck, I made Bill Cosby laugh.
That's what got him.
Yeah. And then after I was happy about that, and I was like, oh, he wasn't a dick. He was a nice man. And then I found out he's a piece of garbage.
To the fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point, you know?
Like Cosby. I didn't know about all this shit.
Like Cosby. I opened for Cosby in Quebec City.
Really?
And Cosby, I have this really weird story about Cosby. He I was like Quebec City only has like 3,000 or 4,000 English speakers, and so and I'm one of those. So whenever they'd have English shows, they'd always ask me to open.
Okay.
So I get a call from a festival in Quebec City, and they're like, "We just booked Bill Cosby. Do you want to open for him?" And I was like, "I shouldn't." Like, this was like in the days when like he was against swearing and he'd judge everyone. And I was
this
like,
is the Jello days.
Yeah.
Well, he invented the Jello shot, right?
I was like, I can't open for Cosby. It's going to be too offensive. And they were like, no, just open for Cosby. Open for Cosby. So I said no, and then they offered me $5,000. So I was like, okay. So they gave me $5,000 to do 7 minutes before Cosby.
Wow.
I accept, and then they send the contract. I signed the contract. About 15 minutes later, they call back. They're like, yeah, we just spoke to Cosby's people. You can't open for him. And I was like, well, it's too late. I already
you owe me $7,000.
Yeah. So they
Five
the Cosby's manager had Googled me, and he was like, he asked.
Probably saw your wiki page.
Yeah, he asked the festival to put speakers in Cosby's dressing room, and if I used anything that Cosby found offensive, Cosby didn't have to do the show, and he'd still have to get paid. Wow. So I had this fucking weird pressure, weird pressure. And Cosby was such a dick. Like, he was such a dick. Like, when I met him, this was like maybe 2 years.
He didn't even rape you, and you think he's a dick. Like,
he didn't rape me, and I thought he was a dick.
Imagine.
Yeah. He was. He was always doing material, and he kind of had. I think he has dementia or Alzheimer's. But he thought he was in France. Like, he kept on doing jokes about eating. Because I knew like. He'd always ask for whatever the junk food from the place he was. Like, if he'd play Philly, he'd ask for a chili cheesesteak. Yeah. So I asked him. I was like, "What did he ask in Quebec City?" I was like, "Did he ask for poutine?" And they were like, "No, he asked for baguette and croissant." And I was like, "What?"
He thinks he's in France.
And I was like, okay, he thinks he's in France. And they were like, no, our croissants are amazing. And I was like, they're fucking garbage. They're the same as croissants.
I'm getting them from
Boston.
Dunkin' Donuts. They don't even exist in Montreal anymore. You know?
So my goal was to make him realize that we weren't in France. So when I met him, he was like it was weird because I was opening for him, and everyone that worked on the show, they were like, you can meet Mr. Cosby and talk to him for a minute, and then you have to leave. So everyone's waiting in line. And then he'd just ask people, he'd be like, are you French or English? And if they'd go, I'm French, he'd do jokes about fucking baguettes in Paris. And if you said you're English, he'd do jokes about Buckingham Palace.
Yeah.
So I was waiting in line. I was like, oh, this fucking old piece of shit doesn't know what continent he's in. So he goes, what are you? And then I go, I'm both. I'm French Canadian and English Canadian, because we're in Canada, and that's super close to the States. And there are French people and there are English people in Canada. And then he looks at me and he goes, I didn't ask for your fucking biography. And then I was like, okay, well, fuck you. I'm French. And then he did like 2 baguette jokes. And then he did his show, and it was fucking horrible. His show was horrible.
Oh, my God.
I kept on doing the same joke, though. And I even put this in, like, I did this on stage, but it's an actual thing I actually did. The guy that booked me was super nervous because he had paid Cosby $100,000. And if I
what it was?
Yeah, if I swore once, he had to give Cosby $100,000,
and
he paid Cosby $100,000 plus a private jet from, I think Cosby lived in Boston. Boston, like the jet was waiting for him. So he was very nervous, and I before the show I kept on going up to him and pretending like I was like, I don't do English shows that much anymore, so my brain is very French. How do you say fist fuck in English? And I'd always be talking about super dirty shit that I knew Cosby would hate. I'd be like,
but he was secretly turned on though.
Yeah, I actually made Cosby laugh with a joke that I swore. And
well, how do you know he was laughing? Green room. Oh, okay, in the green room.
Because like when I got off stage, I get off stage and fucking Bill Cosby is in my
Bill Cosby.
He's in my green room. Like he was in my dressing room.
After all that.
Yeah, his dressing room had he could listen to me, but mine didn't. So he's in my dressing room and he was really nervous. And we started talking and I was drunk by then. Like I was a little drunk before going on stage, and then like after my set there was an intermission and I drank a bit, so I was kind of drunk. And then I forget what I told him, but I just remember I remember telling him, because he was nervous, I was like is this your first time in Quebec? And he was like, yeah, it's my first time in Quebec City. And I'm a little nervous, and I was like, "You're Bill Cosby. You're gonna do good." I was like, "And you better be good, because I'm drunk. So if you're not, I'm gonna fucking chuck this at you." And I told him I was gonna chuck my beer at his head, and then he started laughing. And then I was like, "Oh fuck! I made Bill Cosby laugh."
That's what got him.
Yeah, and then after I was happy about that, and I was like, "Oh, he wasn't a dick. He was a nice man." And then I found out he's a piece of garbage.
He laughed at me one time. All that stuff he did with those broads is irrelevant.
Yeah.
It's just crazy, like what was going on in his head, though, right? That's what I'm thinking. Like he's got demons.
You can't imagine.
What a piece of shit, though. When you what a piece of shit. Because that's demonic. That's fucking mental. That's like, if you saw that in a horror movie, you'd be like, that's the scariest shit I've ever seen. Yeah. A guy that's pretending to be nice and then fucking drugging and raping women.
Exactly what it is.
Cosby was just having sex with anyone in his house that liked coffee.
Yeah.
Whomever.
Yeah.
That would chill with him for 4 seconds before he could kill him. Yeah.
Fucking, yeah. He should have opened up like a fucking Tim Hortons.
Oh my God.
He could have gotten crazy pussy.